Live my life. It's so cool to be alive. I don't care what you think about me, 'cause I'm living life. Too far, get the ground. Looking at a shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Said I might be big in the game like she winning odds. I said I'm moving too fast. Didn't even get a glance. I'm ready to eat up track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you had swag like mine, you know it's best to flaunt. We aren't hating because you aren't shining like it's neon.
What's going on, everyone? This is Birds, Beers, and BS here on the All About the Birds Network. Myself, Eagle Jeff Warner, Peenut. We have a new guest here with us today, the co-host of All About the Birds Draft Show, Tommy Barnett. We have a great show for you, gentlemen, for everyone here this evening. We'll dive into a bunch of different topics. We'll go over the NFL proving the 17-game season. I want to get your guys' thoughts. There was a little bit of news today regarding Jalen Hurts and his jersey. So I'm going to ask you guys a little bit later on what your worst jersey investment was. And then also, of course, we have to talk a little bit pop culture or a couple comic book nerds, me and Peenut. Yes, we'll dissect a little bit into the Falcon Winter Soldier series so far. Sorry, Tommy. I know you're not a comic book nerd, but you'll be sitting there twiddling your thumbs. But a lot to get into. We appreciate everyone that tunes in to the program. Real quick, before we get started here, make sure you are liking, following, and subscribing to all our social media platforms on the All About the Birds Network. So make sure to give us those follows there. If you're not on Twitter, follow us on Twitter at AAT Birds. Follow me on Twitter at Jeff Warner NFL. You can follow Tommy at TBarnett91 and Peenut Party Doll Dave 1. So give us all a follow. Tell us your thoughts on the program. Like, subscribe, hit that like button. Give us those comments. Tell us what you think of the program. But real quick, the first to start off the show, the daily topic of conversation. As we know, we discussed it last week that the Eagles moved down from 6 to 12 by making it. Are you going to continue to do the freaking thing? Do what you say every single week? I need to stop doing the thing. I need to stop doing the thing. Yet, freaking we're not even 5 minutes into it.
You're right. My bad.
You're just trying to get them riled up.
You're just finding another crutch. Sorry for getting off topic, but every single week, Peenut, we rewatch the show. We'll watch it and critique ourselves, figure out what we need to do better and how we have to do things. And every single week, he goes into the show watching, I need to stop doing I need to stop doing or I need to stop making sounds. Yeah, 3 minutes in the show. Jesus, bro. But as I was saying, we know that the Eagles moved down from 6 to 12, and it has a little bit of Eagles Nation a little bit irate here. That the fact that they passed up on Kyle Pitts and Jamar Chase, and it even gets them a little bit more outraged, as both gentlemen had both stellar pro days this past week during their pro days, including some of their numbers I'll go over. As Jamar Chase, he ran a 4.38 second 40-yard dash and had a 41-inch vertical leap during testing at LSU. Kyle Pitts, he had 4.3 or 4.4, Tommy?
Right around there.
So
he had the longest wingspan ever of any wide receiver or tight end either.
So these guys are excelling off the board, and the Eagles decide to pass up on them because no way in hell neither one of those gentlemen are falling at 12. So first topic of conversation, gentlemen, I want to get your guys' thoughts. And do you feel that the Eagles are going to regret this decision to move down from 6 to 12 and passing on potentially 2 generational type of talents that I understand that pro days and combine numbers are just numbers that you still have to go out on the football field on game day and perform. Obviously, we keep Eagles fans to keep on bringing up Mike Mamula. He had an excellent combine, and he didn't pan out to the potential that Eagles fans felt he was going to have in Philadelphia. So, gentlemen, Tommy, we'll start with you since you're the guest of the show and you're a little bit more on the draft expert. Do you feel that it was a wrong decision by the Philadelphia Eagles to make this trade and passing up on these two talented players?
I'm actually okay with the trade, to be honest. I like the idea of trading back. You get that first rounder next year. You have a potential of 3 first rounders next year. It takes more than one player to rebuild the team. So, I mean, look at the Giants offense. They had Odell, and they still couldn't do anything on offense without him. They had Odell and Elda and Barkley for a little bit. Offense didn't really do much. I mean, it takes more than 1 or 2 players. You need to have a good scheme. You need to have a good coach. You need to have a good quarterback. So the Eagles are a bit of an older team right now. They have a little bit of cap trouble. You get those picks. This isn't a 1-year fix. I mean, you gotta get the picks next year and keep building upon what you have.
So essentially, you're basically saying like this year is part of the 2-part process, and then next year would be the slam dunk.
Yeah, with 3 first-round picks, I mean, I'd hope you hit on at least one next year if you do have the 3 picks. I can see the argument for like why you would want Pitts or Chase, because this year is really an evaluation stage for Hurts. I mean, so you do want to get him a weapon, but this is a deep wide receiver class. You can still get a good receiver in the second round, like a player like Rondale Moore or Terrace Marshall. I mean, Marshall was in that LSU offense with Jamar Chase, and before he was hurt in the same year Chase was playing, he had pretty solid numbers compared to Chase in the same offense.
True. Very true.
I apologize, but I get what you're saying. And I agree with you. The Eagles' troubles ain't going to be built off of one player. But when you have an opportunity to get these 2 type of talented players around a young quarterback, it's going to make your quarterback that much better.
Are they generational players?
In my opinion, I believe so. I don't study the draft as well as Tommy or Johnny or some of these draft experts that are on a bunch of podcasts and on the major platforms. But I follow and read up on a lot of these guys, and a lot of people feel that these 2 players are probably 1A and 1B, the top players in this draft, probably behind Trevor Lawrence.
Okay.
So and I understand we have 3 first-round picks potentially for next season, but you do not know what type of talent is going to be coming out of next year's draft that is going to improve and make things better, which is why I understand they're going into this season with Jalen Hurts as your starting quarterback.
So do you have buyer's remorse with the receivers that we already picked up in the prior draft that we just had? Rager.
Well, I don't have buyer's remorse, but none of these guys really stand out to me.
Okay.
Rager, I would say throw him to the side. He was injured for most of last season. He really didn't get a good opportunity. There's talk that Adam Kaplan suggests, it's a little bit misconstrued, that he's going to move to the slot. He's not moving to the slot. Adam Kaplan basically suggested if Sirianni is smart, he's better fit for the slot with Rager. So we'll see how Sirianni and the offense with his scheme, how he's using these guys. But there's a reason why Quez Watkins, John Hightower, who the hell are some of the other young wide receivers?
Greg Ward.
Well, Greg Ward's the veteran.
He's a vet, man. He's remember we had that argument and you said we have no veteran presence. I said we have Greg Ward. We have Greg Ward.
We'll get into G Ward a little bit later on, but there's a reason why these receivers that we have on our roster were not scouted very highly. True. And then, of course, we have J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, who has been a complete bust whatsoever. And that's the one thing I understand that I feel the management and the front office is a little bit not scared, but they're a little bit hesitant on drafting one of these talents that high. Is because they invested so much the last couple seasons in the draft at the wide receiving core, and they just haven't been able to pick the right guy.
Right. But maybe they didn't have the right system. You know what I mean? I think a lot goes into that. Listen, I'm not a J-Jaw fan myself, but given the circumstance, I mean, there were a couple games where he shined and he makes those catches. You know what I'm saying? He's a contested catcher, wide receiver, prototype. So I've seen it happen. I don't think he's been given as much of an opportunity to do so. But that being said, I could understand that, and maybe. But if you're going to draft scared, then don't draft. Give the job to someone else. You know what I'm saying? You can't go into this draft and be like, all right, we didn't hit on the wide receivers. You know what I'm saying? So let's not do it again. We need someone that's going to be able to pull the trigger and make the right call.
I agree. Maybe scared was the wrong word I should have said, but they already, like I said, they already invested so much in the wide receiving core. You can't forget the other positions. And This is a draft, and this is a team that has a lot of missing holes, and they need to get, like Tommy brought up, they're an aging team on the offensive line, on the defense side of football, especially that front four. The secondary at the safety position, they're an aging group with an injury-prone Rodney McLeod right now that we don't know if he's gonna start the season on the PUP list or not.
Right.
They signed Anthony Harris, which he's been a proven veteran the last couple of seasons, but they only signed him to a 1-year deal. You don't know what you have with him after this season. So there's a bunch of positions and cornerback. They had a complete overhaul at cornerback. They do have Darius Slay, but Tommy, I know you're a little bit of the draft expert, so I know you mentioned a couple names. You said this is a deep wide receiving group and deep wide receiving class. Where are maybe some of the other guys that the Eagles might be able to target maybe in the later rounds that might be a little bit of a steal? Maybe some guys that might be a little bit of surprise flying up a bunch of teams' draft boards.
What round are you talking here? Are you talking like second round,
anywhere,
like later, fourth or fifth?
Anywhere, any guys that you might feel might be good value or might stand out. So you're a little bit. I don't know a lot of the wide receiving class or the draft class besides the top couple picks. So besides, of course, you have Waddle if he falls. So. Maybe outside the top three, outside of Chase, Smith, and Waddle, who are maybe some other wide receivers the Eagles can maybe target later on in the draft.
So if we're looking in the second round, Rashod Bateman might be there out of Minnesota. He had a little bit of a down year this year. Tyler Johnson, obviously, he went to the Bucs, I think, in the fifth round this year. That put a little more pressure on him. I think he ends up going maybe a little like later in the first round. He might not be there early second. There are quite a few guys, though, that are kind of late first, early seconds, kind of like a Kadarius Toney, Rondale Moore. Both of those guys are great at creating yards after the catch, which is something I think that you guys need a little bit.
Yeah.
If you're looking for like a slot guy, this is a really deep slot class. You have Daz Newsome, Diami Brown in North Carolina also.
Yeah.
He can fill in on the outside also. Elijah Moore. He had a great 3-cone drill, great pro day numbers.
Nice.
He's a guy you could probably look at in the second round also.
I was saying, you bring up Rashod Bateman, and in the latest Todd McShay mock draft that he released after all the trades last week, he did bring up Rashod Bateman as a possible second rounder for the Philadelphia Eagles, and this is what he had to say about Bateman. And I quote, "Okay, exhale, Philadelphia. The Eagles got a receiver and a good one. In the second round, after missing out on the top guy in round one, Bateman has a little Juju Smith-Schuster in his game. He is versatile with good hands and underrated speed, and he isn't afraid to work the middle of the field."
Work the middle.
So I agree with you. If they can get an option at wide receiver maybe in the second round, I understand that they're missing on generational talent, in my opinion, with Pitts and Chase, but we don't know how these things pan out. And I agree with you that you can't throw your eggs all in one basket, but they still need to build players around Jalen Hurts. And that's my biggest concern right now, because with this inexperienced young wide receiving core, and by them adding another rookie, we don't know. Typically, later round picks, or sorry, not late round picks, but you know what I'm saying, after the first round, you don't know how they're going to develop. You don't know how they're going to transition to the NFL. You don't know if they're going to be able to pick the playbook up as quickly, where you have a guy like Pitts and Chase that are guys that have shown to be immediate impactful playmakers, at least at the college level, in their pro days, and hopefully in the NFL. It's just upsetting as an Eagles fan that they are passing up on this type of talent. Now Tommy is a Giants fan. Now, Tommy, if either one of these guys are there, Would you be upset the Giants passed on him? Throwing out the idea that you guys already signed Galladay.
That's what I was going to say, yeah. I mean, we kind of have the weapons at tight end, too, now. But even though Evan Ingram's in his last year, you just signed Kyle Rudolph, too. We kind of have the receiving options, I feel, kind of set on our end.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it really depends how the board shakes out and who else is there that we're taking. I mean, I feel like Chase definitely won't be there. There's a chance Pitts could fall. Just if teams get caught up on the fact that, he's a tight end.
I don't know if he falls past 5.
I don't think so either.
With a lot of these new mock drafts, with their standout pro day numbers and no scouting combine, I feel these two guys, and I feel the Eagles are right on that number.
Right.
When it was reported that the Eagles felt that Jamar Chase wasn't going to go past 5 to the Bengals. I don't know if maybe he goes to the Bengals just because they just drafted T. Higgins last year. They have a couple other playmakers. They just had their franchise quarterback in Joe Burrow be lost for the season because they had no offensive line help.
Mm-hmm.
I feel they're going to target offensive line, so I feel they're going to draft Sewell if he's there at 5.
See, I think that's what when we talk about build a team around the quarterback, everyone thinks of wide receiver, tight end, running back. But I think what they literally mean is the line. We have to build this offensive line. We have to get some young guys in there.
Well, they do have young guys.
Well, young. What I mean is, I think Howie has already made his choice on his receiver. Last year was receivers. This year, I think if we're going to draft first round, if there's someone there at 12 that's a solidified offensive lineman, I think that's what Howie's going to do. I mean, at 12, you have more of a shot of getting to offensive lineman than you do.
Really, only linemen that ever go that high is typically, and Tommy can contest to this, is really only generational left tackles that can protect your quarterback's blind side.
Are there any potential linemen at 12 that you would take?
Besides Sewell.
I mean,
Sewell, because he's got to be off the board.
Most likely.
I'll disagree a little bit, though, because Quintin Nelson just went, what was it, fit? I think he was like top 5.
He was a guard, but
as a guard,
and he's a solid guard, but
he's amazing. I love Quintin Nelson.
Yeah,
he was what I wanted that year. No offense to Saquon, I love you, but my dream scenario there was trade down and you take Quintin Nelson in the first round and Nick Chubb in the second, and it did not pan out. The Giants went Barkley and then Will Hernandez. So I mean, they were on board with a running back and a guard. They just went a little bit different.
Sorry, I shouldn't say never happens, but very rarely. Basically, my point was I don't want the Eagles to reach for an offensive lineman at 12.
Right.
If there's a guy that most teams don't feel are worthy. I don't want another Danny Watkins situation where we take a guy out of left field just because we need to fill a need and they want to be the smartest guy in the room and try to go off. Basically create craze with the NFL draft.
You know what it is? We've been broken as Philadelphia fans. We've been broken, and we're afraid. We're all afraid right now. The draft should be an exciting moment for everyone.
Next year will be with
Philadelphia fans.
First 3 rounds.
We are so scared of the draft. We're like, we'll mess this up, Howie.
Well, we have every reason to be upset.
Hell yeah.
I would say you look at the track record, and I understand it's been harped upon by the Philadelphia fan base for not just days, months, even years, that Howie and management and Lurie, whoever's in charge, has not been successful with drafting. Yeah. And it's proven. You look at the last year's drafts, I think there's only, besides last year's with Miles Sanders and a couple of the other players, prior to that, I think there's only one player left in the last 2 or 3 drafts, potentially, if Zach Ertz gets traded.
Yeah.
And I think that's Isaac Sayamalu and a couple, I think, late round picks. So obviously, in the first couple rounds, these guys haven't panned out, or they move on from them, or trade them, Carson Wentz, or something else. And as an Eagles fan, that's another reason why it's a little bit hesitant with this deal, is because you had a chance to almost pretty much not miss at 6.
Facts.
But now you move down to 12 and you don't know how the draft is going to shape out, because that's the one concerning thing is they made this deal before the draft. So you don't know how the draft is going to play out, if your guy is even going to be there. So I understand there's reports that they feel there's not much talent differential between 6 and 12, the way they feel this draft is going to pan out, because you expect to run at quarterbacks probably in the top 5, top 10 of the draft.
Right.
So you expect that, and then you have Sewell there. You have a couple of defensive players. So there's a chance that a couple of these offensive weapons that they feel are similar talent, like Smith or like Waddle, could be there, or the couple of the cornerbacks. But if those guys are there, we just don't have the faith in Hallie or Jeffrey, whoever's making the decision, to make that right choice.
We're scared. We're scared of shit.
And we have every right to be.
We're scared.
We're in this position.
It should be fun.
We're in this position because the team can't draft well. And they continue to give aging veterans these contracts to fill those holes because they suck at drafting, which put us in cap hell, which now we can't do shit.
Preach.
This offseason, which hindered us, and now we have to rely on the draft, and hopefully we can build upon that and the next couple of years, because we have a lot of arsenal, a lot of firepower. We have potentially 20 picks over the next 2 seasons, which is going to make or break this franchise.
Well, I haven't really looked at your salary cap situation for next year, if anything frees up. But
next year, we're not in much hell because of the compensation or the cap moving up because of the revenue this year. So it's gonna move on. After next year, we have Carson Wentz off our board.
Nice.
His contract is off of us after this year and next year, and then they'll free up some other cap space with some of these aging veterans or the restructuring the deals this year to move that money a little bit further down the line. It's not gonna be as high as cap numbers next year. We'll have money to play with next year. I'm not worried about next season, which is why I feel this deal showed me a couple things from management. One, first off, they're already throwing in the towel in this season. As much as they say that they want to be competitive or try to win this division, which they potentially can, if this division is as bad as last year, which I don't feel it's going to be, just because the improvements that some of the teams in the division make, like the Giants, the Cowboys, they got their quarterback back, and Dak who lives up to the status that he did before the injury. The Washington football team, I almost said the R word.
Good one.
They get an upgrade at quarterback with Fitzpatrick and a stellar defense at head coach. So I honestly don't see a losing football team in this division winning the division next season, but you pass up generational talent to put around Jalen Hurts and to try to improve him. You can't make any moves. You get a first rounder next year. So in my eyes, you're either doing one or two things. Jalen Hurts is a stopgap quarterback for the season right now in their eyes. If he pans out to be a stud, then they keep him or they trade him and try to get, or depending on how the draft picks pan out next year, draft one of the top quarterbacks in next year's draft, or trade for your Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson.
Right.
So that's my opinion at the quarterback position.
Watson is not going to be available. I'm telling you guys.
Watson's going to be available.
Allegedly.
Tommy? I think it all depends, what happens with this legal situation, to be honest.
Thank you, Tom.
Honestly, this legal situation, I honestly feel it's not going to build up to anything major. I feel this is just people trying to get money out of an athlete until there's actual evidence and evidence that's taken.
Evidence like what, like a videotape or something?
That or
I'd watch that tape.
I watch SVU. If there's no physical evidence, there's no case. So obviously this whole situation is going to go to a civil matter, and they're going to try to prove that he did this or did that, and he's going to give him the money. They're going to get money. Right. That's basically what this is going to turn out to be. And I don't want to get into that. So why don't we call him up and say, you know what, Deshaun Watson, you touched me a certain way, and just make up some silly story out of nowhere and just get the money? Because there's allegedly. Well, because you don't know how he would react to that. They want this in a public fame. They want this out there to the nation. So you think it's all kind of like I don't want to say yes or no. Gotcha. Because we don't know the facts. We don't know the stories. It's just a little odd to me that all of a sudden it goes from nothing happening. This guy he wants out of Houston. Yeah. And then all of a sudden all these accusations come out about him. A lot of accusations. Yeah, they all of a sudden went from one girl to 15 or something. Yeah, I was going to say, they literally machine gunned the accusations. It was like, brrr. But I feel Watson's going to be on his way out. He's the type of guy, in my opinion. I would take him if he wasn't a rapey guy. He is stubborn. He is T.O. right now, the NFL. And if he does not want to play for Houston, he's going to sit out the season. He doesn't care about the money. He'll sit out. Yeah. And then next year, I'll say they'll go to arbitration. He'll force the Texans to either release him or he'll have to pay back probably some guaranteed money, however the hell that all works out. Right. But I feel like he's on his way out. And right now, the Houston Texans, they're losing leverage every single day this continues to go on.
Absolutely.
Once the draft is over,
then
it's
curtains.
They don't have anyone competing for his services, in my opinion, unless a quarterback goes down in preseason and is lost for the year from a Super Bowl contending team.
Preseason, we're actually having a preseason.
There's going to be 3 games. We'll get in that a little bit, as the NFL did approve 17 games, but we're right now currently the only one of few teams that potentially needs a quarterback that has the arsenal to get one of these guys. We have potentially 3 first-round picks. Now, Miami, I think they have multiple first-round picks over the next couple of years. There's a few other teams I can't remember off the top of my head that have potential first-round picks.
Yeah.
But I don't know their situations. I don't know their quarterback situation of those teams off the top of my head.
Right.
So I honestly, I feel the Eagles are going to be in play on one of these guys. And I understand at least Russell Wilson. Everyone keeps on saying he has a no trade clause, which is correct.
He can change that.
Yeah, he can change that any freaking day of the week.
Yeah, he can change that. He's Russell Wilson.
Now, Tommy, as a Giants fan, how would you feel if
I like the way he goes, Tommy, as a Giants fan?
Yeah. Well, I will get his perspective. As Eagles fans, we would be excited for that. And granted, Houston, it was a bad football team. So Deshaun Watson, he was on a bad football team last year. He still put up numbers. It didn't help portray into wins, but it's a little bit similar situation here. We still need a lot of pieces around him. But Tommy, as a Giants fan, how would you feel if the Eagles did get one of these quarterbacks? Do you feel that would put them in contention for the division, or are you scared as a Giants fan, or that they could be a threat? I should say a threat, maybe not competing.
Okay. So from an outside perspective,
yeah.
So the reason Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson are rumored to want out is because they failed to give him weapons. They failed to provide weapons for them. They're not giving them enough say in what's going on with the offense. I mean, so if you have those kind of issues with Seattle and Houston, do you really want to come to Philly?
No.
I mean, you guys.
No.
I mean, you don't really have the offensive weapons, and you've kind of displayed a lot of dysfunction in the last year. To be honest, you're not an attractive option. In my opinion,
we are an attractive option this season.
You're like the toothless hooker that
I should probably rephrase that a little bit. I don't feel the Eagles are going to make a move this season.
Right.
I feel they're going to go with Jalen Hurts as their starter. But next season, where we have a lot more cap room to get weapons for one of these potential quarterbacks, potentially, depending how many we would give up, 1 or 2 first-round picks, maybe 3, depending what they decide to give up for one of them.
So basically what you're saying is they're gambling for this season. They're
throwing in the towel this year.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, whatever happens, and then
that's not a good way to run your system, though.
It isn't, but they strap themselves.
They showed they're okay with that in week 17. So
that is not a good way to run your system, man.
And I agree.
Let's see what happens.
But I feel in their eyes, they don't feel Jalen Hurts is a franchise quarterback right now. He can prove them wrong.
Yeah, I hope he does, too.
And if he does, maybe he's not a great quarterback for them. Maybe he's not a franchise quarterback, but they feel he's enough where they can get some type of compensation for a potential quarterback on another team that their team feels highly of him at a cheap deal. Right now, he's on a second-year rookie contract. Right. Going to his second season, he'll still have 2 seasons left. So a team that maybe might need a young quarterback or is a quarterback away wants a cheap option, or they missed on a quarterback in this year's draft, or they don't feel where they're going to draft next year. They have the right selection to get one of the top quarterbacks,
and they can use Jalen. I got you.
They'll use Jalen Hurts as trade bait.
I got you. But I don't agree with that, though. I think Jalen Hurts is going to be the guy.
I won't give him a chance. I'm not going to throw in the towel on him just yet. I'm not going to say he's going to suck, but he's shown flashes last year. But he also showed a lot of
the same
mishaps.
Carson Wentz did this. You know what I'm saying? The offense was in disarray. Listen, I'm tired of the narrative of we got to see. If you make a decision, you drafted this guy in the second round, you have to let this guy ball out. You have to surround him with a team at this point. You've gotten rid of Carson Wentz. You've gotten rid of the coach, new system. for them to dilly-dally and go back and forth and say, hey, we're not really sure, that's dysfunction, man.
Which is why I feel they're just throwing in the towel this year, because I need to know what they have going to next season with the cap space and the arsenal and draft capital to try to turn this ship around. This season, they need to know what they have with a lot of their young talent. So, yeah, I would say, like I said, the one thing is they're ready to throw in the towel. They possibly don't have the faith in Jalen Hurts. And this deal, what it showed me was that they feel the talent that was going to be there at 6, they don't have a lot of confidence in, which is
scary too, because how the talent at 6 is definitely worth it. You're talking about 3 quarterbacks going within the top at least 3 to 4 picks, correct?
Potentially.
So
possibly top 3, because you have Trevor Lawrence going 1. A lot of people feel Zach Wilson's going 2 to the Jets, and now the 49ers, they definitely need a quarterback because Jimmy G's injury prone and they need an upgrade.
They're going Fields, Lance, or Mac Jones. I mean, it's
a lot of people.
Set.
I'll say, what's his name? McShay has him taking Mac Jones. He feels that with his accuracy, he fits a little bit more with what Kyle Shanahan wants to do with his offense.
What if Fields drops? Do the Dolphins, are they enticed to take a quarterback, even though they have Tua?
No.
Do you think they might though?
No.
I mean, they might want to be a quarterback factory.
I don't think so. I think they want to get Tua some weapons, which is why I think Miami's going to go probably to offensive line or one of the big wide receivers.
Smith?
I think they go Chase.
Yeah.
Chase?
Chase is, if he's there, Chase is the guy.
That's a problem, man. Yeah.
But as we shift gears a little bit, as we bring up the draft, I know me and Peenut discussed a little bit last week on potential names for the Eagles at 12. Tommy, I want to get your perspective on maybe some names that the Eagles might look at with their 12th overall pick.
First of all, I want to know who your guys' picks were last week. I forget what that was, to be honest.
I said they either go wide receiver or corner.
I think I went O-line, I think.
Yeah, you always go O-line. He's in love with the O-line. For a guy that's 160 pounds soaking wet and skinny is in love with the offensive line.
Yo, I go O-line. Look, Andy Reid used to draft. I remember the draft with Andy Reid. You all right there, buddy? I'm
sorry, I have a little bit of
COVID.
Yeah,
anyway, Andy Reid,
6 feet.
Yeah, right.
On these chairs.
Andy Reid used to always the wars are won by the trenches, and he would always go O-line, and he used to have the most fantastic offensive line built up, even in the depth of the O-line was so good.
I agree with you, but the Eagles' offensive line isn't as bad as people are making it out to be.
It's just not a sexy pick. It's not a sexy pick. Nobody likes drafting the offensive lineman, but
I don't mind drafting offensive linemen, but the Eagles don't have as many holes on the offensive lineman for them to dress it that early in the draft. Well, you can find a lot of quality offensive linemen in later rounds. The Eagles have had success doing that in past draft history.
We went to Australia to find one.
Yeah.
And we didn't even start.
Well, that's the same. Exactly. We drafted Andre Dillard in the first round. They're still going to give him a chance. Right. We have Mailata, who has panned out to be better than a 7th round pick that they drafted him at. He's panning out to potentially be the starting left tackle.
He should be.
They are aging at the right tackle with Lane Johnson with his injuries. We don't know how long Jason Kelsey is going to last. Brandon Brooks, he's coming off 3 straight major injuries. We don't know how he's going to perform, so he might be on the tail end of his career. I understand, but at least for next season.
You got to build in the trenches, and if next season is a wash, then why not go with the trenches?
Remember, we had 11 draft picks. We're going to draft those guys. So we need
draft a high O lineman early, and then draft.
They already did that. They drafted Dillard.
You start building up.
You drafted Dillard in the first round.
Right.
They need right now. This offensive line isn't as bad as far as the starters. And when these starters goes down, you need to build depth, and you're not going to draft a guy that high just to be a depth piece.
What's the most important part of the offensive line?
The left tackle.
Left tackle, and what comes second?
The center.
Right. Jason Kels literally said, you're
not going to draft the center in the first freaking round.
I would.
Tommy, you're even a center that's scouted highly in the first round.
Yeah, no, I'm not drafting a center at all. I mean, if you want an offensive lineman,
I'm sorry, not drafting the center in the first round. I'm sorry, drafting the O-line guy. Yeah, I would. Yeah, of course I would.
You just changed the whole narrative of your freaking question. You went from drafting a center by comparing Kelsey to now drafting an offensive lineman.
I don't think anyone is putting any importance into the line. Everyone's like, oh, well,
there is importance into the line.
These are all injury-prone linemen, and we have to get younger at that position. Every part of that position needs to get younger.
And they will.
All right, Tommy.
Later round of the draft. That's where they're going to focus the late rounds of the draft on, in my opinion. But, Tommy, to answer your question.
I think there's 2 offensive linemen that I would only consider taking at 12, really. First one is Sewell if he somehow falls.
Hopefully.
And then also Rashawn Slater.
Yeah,
he's been rising up. There's actually some people who have Slater over Sewell as a better offensive lineman.
Yeah,
I've seen that.
In McShay's latest draft, he has Slater going 14 to the Vikings. He also has another offensive lineman with Vera Tucker going to the Dolphins as a guard.
So if Slater's available at 12, you don't take him?
No.
What?
Because they want to know what they have with Andre Dillard. It's gonna be a battle in camp for the starting position with Andre Dillard and Jordan Mailata.
Gotcha.
In their eyes, they feel Mailata stepped up enough to at least take on a serviceable role as the starting left tackle. Right. And they're going to have him and Dillard battle it out in camp to see who the true starter is. Now with Brandon Brooks coming back, Jason Kelsey for one more year most likely, and Sayamalu is the other guard with Lane Johnson as the right tackle. So I agree they need to address the offensive line, but not that high. Okay. Right, our main issue right now along the offensive line that killed us last year was depth. Because the fact that we did not expect. We had
a lot of injuries.
Yeah, everyone went.
Yeah, we didn't expect Dillard to go down as quickly as he did. We didn't expect Brandon Brooks to go down early before the season even started. So, under those circumstances, they had to bring Jason Peters back, who was a turnstile last year. And don't worry, Eagles Nation, they are not bringing him freaking back.
They better not, man. They better not. But listen, I love JP, but
Tom, in answer to your question, the couple guys I mentioned last year or last week that I felt the Eagles should target at 12. If they can't get Chase or Pitts, they still need to target wide receiver, I feel. So if Devontae Smith or Waddle are there, which they're flying up both teams, a lot of teams' draft boards, especially Waddle. So he might not be there at 12. And then I said corner. They either go J.C. Horn or the other cornerback.
Surtain.
Well, Surtain, I don't feel Surtain's going to be there. I think
he goes to Dallas.
He's going to go to Dallas, in my opinion. But there's another one. Farley, that's it. I know a lot of people, and it was discussed on A2D's Birds of a Feather last night with Chucks and Pete. But
shout out Chucks.
They felt Farley's the better selection there for the Eagles at 12 if he's there. But there's a lot of concerning due to his back injuries, and with him having recent back surgery just recently, that it could be a little bit of a risk, but they feel that he's the better overall coverage corner there at 12 if the Eagles do go to the cornerback route. Your thoughts?
Great athlete. He did opt out this season, so we really only have like one true season of him as a corner. So I feel like with his injury history, that's going to push him down a little bit. I wouldn't go with him at 12, to be honest. I'm all in on J.C. Horn at 12. I think he has a chance to be the best corner in the draft.
Nice.
And according to Todd McShay's recent mock draft, he did have J.C. Horn going to the Dallas Cowboys, which I hope to God not. It
doesn't matter. We don't have the receivers anyway, so he's going to have a fantastic year next year.
But McShay had this to say about J.C. Horn, and I quote, "Jordan Lewis is back in Dallas, but the Cowboys still want to upgrade the cornerback position opposite Trayvon Diggs. Perhaps it's Virginia Tech's Caleb Farley, though his back procedure might cause concern. Instead, I'm tabbing Horn, a speedy, versatile press corner. The Cowboys gave up 34 passing touchdowns last season, so expect them to address the area here, unless they opt to help protect the $160 million man quarterback Dak Prescott with one of the class's top tackles." So well, that's a little bit different story. They have no left tackle. Right. There's a reason why Dak got hurt, because they had no protection last season.
Right. But well, he got hurt because he hurt himself.
Well, yeah.
He was just running.
Yeah.
You know
on that play, but
it wasn't the offensive line. He was just running.
But they didn't live up to the hype that the Dallas Cowboys offensive line normally has. But is there any other names, Tommy, that you feel the Eagles might target 12 or should target 12?
I think Parsons is a possibility, even though you guys don't really.
Never happening.
Let him talk.
Yeah, I was going to say, the way you guys value the linebacker position, I feel like it's a long shot, but I would say that there's a chance, small chance, but it's there. Also, a chance, like you were saying, that you go with a wide receiver like Waddle or Smith.
I'd be happy with a linebacker pick at 12. I think that would be great, man. What way to shut everyone up? Like, if Howie literally wants to shut everyone up, go with that linebacker pick at 12 and be like, shut up.
I think a part of the thing with Parsons is you're aging on defense and you kind of need like a young new leader to step in. I feel like Parsons can kind of be that guy for you.
I would be happy with that pick. I would literally be okay with
I would be ecstatic with that pick, but it's not freaking happening.
Why not?
We haven't drafted a linebacker in the first round since Jerry Robinson in 1978, I believe it was.
Yeah, but you know what? New coach, new philosophy.
He's not going to have a say.
He's going to have some say.
I would hope your head coach
It's already been said. Sirianni said in his opening press conference, it's Howie's job to assemble his roster for game day.
But Howie is going to go to him and say, hey, what do you feel about
not.
What do you feel about
if
that?
If that's the case, he wouldn't have freaking had the last couple picks years.
Y'all make it sound like Howie's this mafioso dude that just walks in and slaps his coach around every time. Like, we going to do this, okay, Say? This is what we're going to do,
We've been through 3 head coaches since Howie's been the GM. Right. There's obviously a disconnect between the head coach and the GM.
Because nobody sees Howie's vision.
No, Howie's a freaking moron. And there's a reason why.
Howie, you got a moron.
Are you ever going to let me freaking talk? God damn, bro.
Go ahead, Jeffrey.
There's a reason why Jeffrey Lurie at the top, and that Howie Roseman has him wrapped around his little pinky. Mm-hmm. Them two are the only ones combating and discussing this whole matter, and they're the ones with the final say. He's the owner, and the owner goes to his GM and lets him decide all the final decisions. It's been a known fact, according to reports and the press conference that with Howie Roseman that said Jeffrey Lurie is much involved in the decision making. Okay. So Lurie is a guy that he has openly admitted that he loves offense. He loves firepower. He loves scoring points. That's how you win in the NFL. In his eyes, he wants to get the flashy picks, and that's the reason why this defense is in other freaking shambles, because they do not value the defensive side of the football, or they make shitty picks on the defense side of the football. Okay. Derek Barnett hasn't panned out to be a first-round selection. You obviously missed there, and they don't value the linebacker position. I agree with that. How many Super Bowl winning teams? It was brought up by our boy Phil, my boy from AT Birds, Phil Stifle, on Twitter. Shout out to Phil. How many Super Bowl winning teams have stud linebackers? Mm-hmm. We saw it this past year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Levante David and Devin White. They are difference makers on the defensive side of the football. And Michael Parsons, I don't care about his off-field antics. I don't care about the hazing he potentially had at Penn State. Allegedly. It happens in college. I'm not saying it was right, but let's worry about the on-field performance. If he can be a difference maker on the defensive side of football and be an upgrade for you get him. But it's not going to freaking happen.
It's going to happen.
I hope to God it does.
It's not going to happen.
I
wish it happened.
This is All About the Birds, Beers, and BS show. We appreciate everyone that's tuned in so far. We have Peenut, special guest, Tom Barnett, Tommy Too Good.
Cheating at Madden all the time.
Yeah, from the co-host of the All About the Birds draft show, myself, Jeff Warner. We had to take a quick timeout, pay some bills here. So we will be right back with a moment from our sponsors.
Support for All About the Birds is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. We have an exclusive offer for our listeners, 20% off plus free shipping with the code AATBIRDS at manscaped.com. Manscaped hooked us up with a bunch of tools and formulations from their Perfect Package 3.0 kit, including the Lawnmower 3.0, which comes with an LED light for a more precise shave and is waterproof to make your shower shave clean and easy. The Perfect Package also includes a deodorant for your undercarriage to prevent odors and chafing, a reviving lotion, a pair of boxers, and a t-shirt, not to mention a travel bag to store all your grooming goodies. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code AATBIRDS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code AATBIRDS. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Your balls will thank you.
Yes, we would like to thank our new sponsor on the All About the Birds Network, Manscape. So make sure to use that promo code AATBirds at manscape.com for 20% off and free shipping. Support us help support us by supporting our sponsors. And we'd like to thank one of our other sponsors here on Birds, Beers, and BS, and that is Vinny's Pizza and Restaurant off of Iroquois Trail in the Old Town Shopping Center in Allentown. You can follow them on Twitter at Vinny's Pizza and Restaurant. Facebook, not Twitter. You can check out their website, VinniesPizzaPA.com. They have tons of great deals at Vinny's Pizza and Restaurant. You can get 2 large pizza special for $24.99. You can also get a large wing, 12-wing and 2-liter deal for $25.99. They have a bunch of great food, including pasta, burgers, sandwiches, and more. Wraps, grilled chicken wrap, Italian wrap, chicken cheesesteak wrap. It's just all delicious. So make sure to head on over there, the Iroquois Trail, if you're in the Lehigh Valley area. Check out Vinny's Pizza and Restaurant. Tell Caesar, the gentleman at Birds, Beers, and BS sent you. You can give him a call, 610-395-2300. Again, 610-395-2300. Or you can visit them again, VinniesPizzaPA.com for all their deals and their food menu there as well. So, gentlemen, welcome back. We appreciate everyone again tuning in to Birds, Beers, and BS. We have Peenut, Tommy Too Good, Tom Barnett from the All About the Birds Draft Show, and myself, Eagle Jeff Warner. As we shift gears a little bit, as it was announced this past week that the NFL is approving a 17-game season, which, in my eyes, I love it.
Why?
More football, bro.
Yeah, but you're talking about more injuries, more possible. Like,
I don't care. Injuries are part of the game. You have injuries in preseason. So if you have not heard the news, they announced that there will be 17 games this season.
There's going to be one less.
There's going to be one less preseason game. So there'll be 3 preseason games compared to the 4. So essentially, you almost have like that mini bye week in the beginning of the season because it's going to be short. It's going to be a shorter preseason. You have more football. It makes the league more revenue, and
why do we care what the league makes?
Because it helps your team's salary cap.
Oh, okay, yeah, then I do care about that.
It's a shared revenue. So if more games,
I got you.
Equals more money, which means more money for you to spend on players to improve your football team.
I got you. All right.
That and pushes back the Super Bowl a week, so getting a little bit closer to that President's holiday weekend.
Okay. So it's not going to be the typical Super Bowl.
It's not the first week of February now. Now it's the second week of February. So, gentlemen, your thoughts? Are you guys pro for it?
I'll let Tommy answer this first, though.
I'm a little bit against it.
Why?
Yeah. So I'm kind of a pure guy. Like when it comes to right here. So I like the idea. Like you're gonna mess with the records.
Yes.
Now. The records.
Yes.
It's gonna throw everything off when it comes to that. I do like the idea that the player's gonna be making a little bit more money. But you've already agreed to contracts with them where you were only playing 16 games in that previous contract.
Fuck the contract or fuck the records.
If my boss said, hey, I want you to work overtime and I'm paying you nothing additional for this, how do you think I'd feel about that?
They're paid the same amount whether it's preseason or not.
They're not playing the same snaps in preseason. They're playing in the same.
Not everyone. The quarterback, no. But this, like I brought up on All About Birds weekly report, because of this game now, it helps these players get those bonus incentives. If you have if you can get an extra $1 million for playing 80% of the snaps, this game will help that. If you can get an extra $2 million for a 1,000-yard receiving year, this game will help that.
Okay.
Now, how many players have that clause in their contract?
Quite a bit. Quite a bit.
All of them. Probably.
A lot of
honestly, I don't know.
A lot of the stars do. Making the Pro Bowls, making 1,000-yard seasons, playing a certain amount. The snap might be a little bit of lesser players, but
so we go from 8-8 to what, like 8 or 9?
There will not be a 500 football team.
That sucks, man. No, man, you messing with.
I'd rather have that. You have a losing team.
Yeah, you're messing with tradition.
You have a losing team. Well, this wasn't always tradition. There was times when there was only 14 games. There was a time there was only 3 divisions.
You weren't born then, though.
Yes, it was. Three divisions was just happened until 2002, 2003, whenever the Texans came in.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, remember it used to be the West, the Central, and the East.
No, I got you.
We used to have the Cardinals in our freaking division.
We did. You
don't remember that? You only know that because I fucking said it.
That's right.
God. But
listen, one more game. Why, though? Why do we need another game?
Like I said,
it was perfect.
Revenue.
When things are good, you leave it as, if it ain't broken, don't fix.
I'm an old man. I just do not like change.
You guys are freaking haters.
Tommy.
We're football fanatics. You want more meaningful football.
I'm a football fan.
You aren't.
You're a fanatic.
You aren't. You don't even watch football. If the Eagles are not playing, he does not watch football.
That's what YouTube is for.
He goes to the premium outlets to go shopping with his wife and kids instead of watching football on a Sunday like a real man.
I have no response to that. That was some personal business shit, son.
Sundays during football season,
I'm never gonna tell you what I'm doing on a Sunday anymore.
My ass is on that couch from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. at night.
Your ass is on that couch from
Monday through Sunday.
That couch got a personal imprint of Jeffrey's ass cheeks. He ain't going nowhere, man. Come on, man.
But okay, 2 against 1. If you guys are against it, whatever. We'll see how it pans out. I'm for it. I want more meaningful football. It's going to bring more revenue to the league, especially with the new television deals and a lot of these streaming deals.
The streaming deals scare me, though.
Because you're too cheap to buy half of them.
You just told me I'm bougie and I go shopping all the time. Yeah. Now I'm too cheap to buy shit.
Yeah, because you don't want to
make up your fucking mind. God dang it.
You buy certain things. the beer in his hand and freaking a bunch of other random bullshit.
That's right, some random bullshit.
But that and I'll say
some random bullshit.
I'll say that is the new
some
gear.
Random bullshit.
I'll say Peenut, of course, sporting the new Birds, Beards, and BS gear.
You like the hat, right?
You can
some random bullshit.
You can get all the Birds, Beards, and BS gear along with all our other All About the Birds gear at AATBirds /shop. Again, AATBirds.com /shop for all AAT Birds gear. Peenut already invested quite a bit into his gear. We want to see you invest. So make sure to check out the website and all the different gear. If you have a suggestion for some type of gear that you want with our logos on it, let us know. Hit us up. There's a bunch of different options.
Yes, sir.
But that and back to the 17-game schedule, it brings up revenue, and also if you're a gambling fanatic, it gives you another week. The gambling leagues and a bunch of these gambling sites, they're ecstatic. Atlantic City, where you can gamble in Jersey, they're freaking ecstatic. More meaningful football, another week of games for people to gamble on. That and fantasy football extends, and now it's going to extend the playoffs. For fantasy fanatics like myself, I always felt week 13 was way too early for the end of the season to start the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with that. I just don't like changing the record books around.
It's going to happen.
I know
it's always going to happen.
You're talking about greats. Dan Marino's record might get broken.
It's already broken.
Oh, sorry, Dan Marino.
God damn, do you follow anything football?
I don't know. I just got put on the spot, man.
It's always going to everyone's going to, of course, worry about the record books but it's always going to change. There was times where there was 14 games. There was times back in the 60s where there was 10 games. These records are always going to improve, change, and things like the old saying goes, things are meant to be broken.
Now, my thing is, do we still have to deal with the 53-man roster, or are we going to get a boost on that?
I think it's still 53-man, but I'm not entirely sure. But they might continue that whole extra practice squad thing where you can dictate. Kind
of like a farm system.
A little bit.
Gotcha.
But okay, we'll see how it pans out. We're still a lot of season to get to, but there were some other Eagles news today, as it was announced today that Jalen Hurts is changing his jersey number, fellas. So if you invested in that Jalen Hurts number 2 jersey, you better get a return or refund or whatever the hell it is to take that back, because he is now going to be number 1. So, gentlemen, I want to get your thoughts real quick. Not on the changing of the number, because it happens in the NFL. It's going to happen. Players want to wear certain numbers.
You think it's a dig at Carson Wentz, kind of?
No, I don't think it's a dig.
Like, instead of 2 ones, he just got 1 1?
No, wasn't he 1 in college?
I think he was.
Yeah, so he was 1 in college. And a lot of these numbers have sentimental values to a bunch of these guys, so I don't see him that big of an issue. But I want to know your worst jersey investment. I know, Peenut, we were going to try to talk about this weeks ago. We never got a chance to it. But I want to know a guy that you guys felt was going to be a superstar for your team, and you invested paying the $80, $150, $200 for their jersey.
I'll let Tommy answer this one first.
Is it any sport? Does that have to be football?
I'm going to go with football. I went with a Kenny Phillips jersey. I mean, I thought Kenny Phillips, he came into the league, coming from Miami, a college football team that I do like quite a bit. But he was going to be that next big thing on the Giants defense, got hurt, and never really heard from him again. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if you guys even know who Kenny Phillips is.
Yeah, safety for Miami.
Okay.
I wanted the Eagles to get him at that point, and I think we
didn't do it.
I think we ended up signing like Sean Jones to a big freaking deal from the freaking from the Browns or whatever. Can't remember what year that was.
I think mine was AJ Feely, man. I thought like he was the next. I really thought he was the next big thing. At one point, I'm like, yo, AJ Feely. I think I had 2 jerseys. I had like the home and the away one. My wife was like, no, let's get it. And yeah, that would probably be the one I regret the most, man. I don't know. I think I still have it too. I think if I have it, I'm gonna wear it on next week's show. But that would be the one. That would be mine. What about you, man?
I have a bunch, as you guys know, as Tommy knows. I was the Eagles kid in school. I wore Eagles every day jerseys. I had about like 150, 200 jerseys, so I bought them all. But the one I'm probably that I had the worst investment in was probably Kevin Cobb.
Kevin Cobb,
just because the fact that we drafted him in the second round. You're kind of expecting him to be the heir apparent to Donovan McNabb whenever they decide to move on from him. Mm-hmm. He steps in for McNabb when he got injured in his rookie year, throws for 3 touchdowns against the Saints.
Well, he had issues with concussions his whole life, right?
Well, he had concussions in the NFL.
Yeah. But that's a pretty bad one too.
So you expected him to be the starting quarterback, and typically everyone that are fan teams, you go for the quarterback. That's typically the sexy pick when it comes to getting jerseys. They're typically the guy that's going to stick around the longest, usually, and they're the face of the franchise most of the time. So when McNabb was going to move on, we kept on hearing from the organization that Kevin Cobb is going to be the next man up. He's going to be the starter. He's going to be the franchise quarterback of this league, and he pans out to play what? 3-4 games. He gets hurt week 1 against the Green Bay Packers, getting his head slammed. Michael Vick comes in. He plays a couple more weeks, and he just sucks. And everyone calls for Michael Vick, and he's never seen again. Gets traded to the Arizona Cardinals and sucks there.
He all around did suck.
So that's
no offense, Kevin Cobb, but you sucked.
So I would have to say that was probably my worst investment, just because the hype was there for Cobb to be the guy, and he just didn't pan out.
Number 4, right?
That wasn't 04. That was 07.
No, number 4.
Oh, yeah, number 4. But I bought a bunch of crappier jerseys. I had a Jeremy Bloom jersey.
How about James Thrash?
Thrash wasn't that bad. He's at least a starting receiver.
True.
But I had Ryan Moats.
Ryan Moats, I remember that one.
Was anyone that wore an Eagles green from probably 2004 to 2010, I had a jersey of them.
All right.
But there's a little bit more news this past week. We'll just touch on this real quick as we're getting towards the end of our show here on Birds, Beers, and BS. But it was announced this past week that Greg Ward and running back Boston Scott both signed their exclusive tenders to remain with the Philadelphia Eagles for 2021. Gentlemen, real quick, Peenut, if you want to start off your thoughts on the move. It's essentially a 1-year deal.
10 years, right?
Tender?
Okay.
It's a tender.
Okay, my bad.
They signed an exclusive rights tender.
I thought it was 10 years. 10
years. How many years that you're on a team?
Okay, my bad. I like.
You go back to school and learn the freaking American English.
I thought you were like, I want some chicken tenders. That's what it sounded like. I like it. I think I like Greg Ward, and me and you talked about it a couple weeks ago when I'm like, we already have our veteran wide receiver. We have Ward, and I know he's not like a sexy wide receiver veteran to them, but in the locker room, I think he commands attention, and I think it's a good thing. I like Boston Scott and him getting that, and I think honestly, these are going to be our leaders moving forward. They're not going to be playmakers like these young guys, but they're going to be able to keep these guys in line. So I like the move. I look. It is what it is. This is what we have, and honestly, these guys are they're players off the field. They're players on the field. They're good guys. So I like it. If that's my answer. That's my answer.
Tommy?
Yeah, I'm with Peenut on this. I mean, it's a It's a small contract. Get you a veteran presence in the locker room.
Yep.
You're not really going to get any free agent for the same cost. I mean, it doesn't hurt to bring him back, to be honest.
I agree. Me and Tommy are bitter enemies too. Like me and you go to war on Madden all the time. And let me just say this. And Tommy, I'm glad you came on the show. Tommy is an absolute beast at Madden. Sometimes me and Jeffrey have to like actually think. Like we think he's a hacker sometimes.
He cheats.
He cheats his ass off.
I promise I do not cheat in any way.
There's a reason why we call him Tommy Too Good. Because magically, no matter what we do in Madden, he finds a way to win or finds a way to miraculously intercept a pass. Or his guy's always wide open, and then no matter what coverage you do.
Don't ever put your headphones on because he'll nicely tell you what you did wrong. You should have done that. I'm like, fuck you.
His condescending happy remarks or whatever. Oh, that was a good game. You could have had me.
He's fucking right, man.
You did beat me in overtime last week.
I did. I found every once in a while I beat him, so I'm the squirrel that finds a nut. Getting back to Greg Walker a little bit, I would say I agree with you. He's the veteran president. He's not a flashy receiver, but he's an efficient receiver. I brought up on the weekly report this past week. He's the poor man Jason Avant. He has decent hands. He's a guy that can make a catch when needed. Picks up a lot of first downs, and right now he's all we got. He's a veteran in our locker room. He currently is sixth most in Eagles history by a player in his first 23 games.
Not bad.
Last season, he caught 28 passes for 254 yards in 7 games. So he's catching about 4 receptions a game. So he brings you that security blanket a little bit.
And he's kind of clutch.
He's not clutch.
I mean, there's been a couple instances
there's been a couple moments. As for Boston Scott, these are both moves that we expected to happen. We expected these guys to return to provide some depth. Boston Scott, unless it's against your G-men, he kind of sucks. But I still feel we do need that change of pace back from Miles Sanders and Boston Scott. We still need that power back. So hopefully maybe they look somewhere in the later rounds, or maybe there's a veteran that becomes available. But the Eagles aren't done at neither one of these positions because they definitely need upgrades at wide receiver and at the running back position.
Agreed.
As we finish things up here on Birds, Beers, and BS, real quick, we'll get our thoughts. Peanut really want to dive into this topic.
We don't have to. We can wait till next week if you want to.
Well,
it's up to you.
I already teased it.
Are we at an hour?
Yeah, we're at an hour. We can go a few more minutes longer.
So why don't we do this?
Just discuss it. We already teased it. It's already on the screen.
Go, finish your thing.
Fucking do it.
Go.
So real quick, last week we talked about the horrible movie that is the Justice League Zack Snyder cut, which I still haven't watched. But Falcon Winter Soldier on Disney Plus. We're in week 3, just dropped today, this Friday. So if you haven't got Disney Plus yet or watched it, go out there, stream it, and watch Falcon Winter Soldier. Especially if you're a nerd and a comic book nerd like us, a lot better than WandaVision in my opinion. So Peanut,
I agree.
Real quick, the first 2 episodes. I watched the third today. I know you probably haven't.
I didn't watch the third yet.
But hang on, if you have not watched the end, don't want to be spoiled. I'm giving you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you aren't off yet, it's your fucking loss. So Peanut, go ahead.
I actually really like it, man. What I like the most about this show is the banter between the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Second thing I like the most about this is the way when you think about Marvel, it moves stories forward, but in the same sense, it moves stories backwards. So as you're moving forward, you're watching the story between the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but then you're moving backwards and learning about other things like Isaiah, Captain America, the other Captain America. I really like what they're doing in this show, man.
Yeah, if you haven't found out, there is a new Captain America. Right. It is James Walker. They replaced him since Falcon did not want to take the role as Captain America. They decided to still replace him with this new guy, which people are outraged.
I love it.
This dude, the actor.
He's a douche.
Well, no, the actor is getting. It's not just the. It's just.
They're mad at the actor.
They're mad at the actor. People are so outraged that he took this role role or not took the role, but he's filling in this role for Chris Evans, who decided not to renew his contract, and the whole storyline was with Endgame, killing off Captain America. Not killing him off. He went back in time, came back as old Chris Evans,
right.
Steve Rogers, so he can be with his sweetheart Peggy Carter.
Right.
So now there is a new Captain America. People are outraged, and I understand people are a little bit outraged at him a little bit. I don't know if you saw the report or saw the story.
I seen it.
But this dude, he knows nothing about Marvel. He knows nothing about the MCU universe. He decides to fill his role.
He picked up a job, but I like that they're diving into other Captain Americas because we're spoiling it, right? I could say it.
Yeah, I already gave him the
So
warning.
they go back and they meet this guy Isaiah, who was a Captain America that was kind of forgotten, which is a dope comic book adaptation and a dope story. I advise you guys go on YouTube, look it up. It's great, man.
I know you sent it to me like 6 times.
I did. I was like, yo, they're doing this. But I like what the show's doing. The show's moving in the right direction. I haven't seen episode 3, so when I do, I will get on here and spoil it for you equally. But if you haven't watched it, get on there and watch it, man. I enjoyed that they're starting to add all these elements of different characters that you wouldn't expect to be added into the MCU.
Well, and it's not just I agree with you. It's not just tying in these shows together. It's still tying all these movies. So if you didn't never watch a bunch of these Marvel movies, you're gonna be lost a little bit. So it gives you a reason to binge watch on a weekend, a rainy weekend, or cold like this weekend over the holidays. Don't want to deal with your family on Easter. Binge watch the MCU universe.
I would.
Without giving it away, episode 3 they tie in a little bit from a character from one of the movies.
All right.
And just with everything going on in the world, I know we don't want to get into the whole race card and all that type of stuff.
I like the way they did it, though. I like the way they
exactly.
It. Yeah.
And the way they're bringing it into it, it's something
that needs to be talked about.
They're not overhyping it with the whole Black Lives Matter movement, but they're still trying to find ways. If you haven't seen the movie, there's a moment in the movie where Falcon is
the blip.
Yeah, the blip. He comes. Walking down the street, I think in Baltimore, and this black kid comes up to him. And he says, "Hey, you're Black Falcon."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Why do you say that?" He's like, "Well, you're Falcon and you're black." And then, of course, the actor who plays Falcon is black. Yeah. He says to the kid, he's like, "Hey, black kid." And the kid's like, "Why you call me that?" He's like, "You're a kid and you're black."
I like.
So there's a little bit of humor involved, and it's basically indicating, hey, color doesn't matter. No. You shouldn't just dictate and call someone, "Hey, black kid," or "Hey, Puerto Rican guy," or "Hey, white dude." So,
white dude. Thanks for coming on the show.
Basically, what they were trying to get. It's a nice, funny, comical way, but also addressing a serious matter. Basically saying we're all together. Color doesn't matter. It's just we're all Americans, and it's just focused on making America better rather than trying to split us up between races and color.
I like the way they did it too. The way they told that story, it made sense, and it wasn't forced. It wasn't any like sometimes you watch things and it's forced. Yeah. But if you watch the show, it kind of explains. It's a microcosm of what's happening now in this world, and I thought it was pretty good, man. So if you haven't watched it, watch it. Trust me, you guys will like it. I haven't watched episode 3 yet, so I'm glad you didn't spoil that.
I'm not gonna spoil, but I'll give you a little bit of teaser.
But you know what? Give it a shot, man. I'm telling you guys will like it. And WandaVision wasn't bad, but this one's better than WandaVision. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Tommy, any thoughts?
No, I mean,
Tommy,
I didn't. I haven't watched the show at all.
Did our pitch help you maybe get Disney Plus so you can watch these shows?
I'll give you my code, Tommy.
I have Disney Plus. I watched about 10 minutes of it last night.
Code.
I watched like 10 minutes of it last night when Peenut was telling me we wanted to talk about this tonight.
Yeah.
And then I realized SVU was on soon. And I couldn't miss out on Stabler coming back. I mean, come on.
I don't blame you.
Come on. We've been waiting 10 years for that. I had to watch that.
I say you have a little cozy night with the lady friend, watch a little Captain America, watch some Iron Man, Civil War.
Yep.
Come on, bro, get on this.
I do love Iron Man, to be honest.
Stop whooping her ass some Madden and start watching these shows.
Yeah, goddamn.
Damn.
Another great show here in the books of Birds, Beers, and BS. Gentlemen, any last thoughts as we get out of here?
Shout out to Mike. Mike always comments in the comment section. Mike, you are a funny man. Shout out to my wife. Shout out to my fam. Shout out to you guys. And shout out to Tommy, man. Thanks for showing up, man. We did this last minute, and I'm glad he showed up. Thanks, Tommy.
And he does exist, because inside joke, for the longest time, whenever I would talk about Tommy, Peenut and his wife didn't think he exists, even though they met him numerous times at Super Bowl parties and football events. Yeah. And then when they finally met him, they're like, oh.
Yeah. That's facts. Yeah, that's true.
They thought he was just some invisible made up dude I made up to whoop Peenut's ass at Madden.
Yep.
Jeff does have friends.
I do have friends. It's a surprise to me too. But thank you to everyone for tuning in to Birds, Beers, and BS here on the All About the Birds Network. Make sure to follow, like, subscribe, hit that comment button, hit that like button on the YouTube page. Comment. Let us know what you think of the show. Comments on certain topics you want us to discuss, or your thoughts on what we discuss here on the program. So make sure to do that. And so you also don't miss any of our programs here on the All About the Birds Network. Tomorrow night for Saturday, we have a big AAT Birds draft show with Johnny Ulecka and Tommy Too Good Barnett here. Tommy, a little teaser, anything you guys are discussing tomorrow?
Probably just going to talk mostly about pro days, to be honest. And not too much going on right now.
You're supposed to hype it up. That was the worst hype up to a show I've ever seen.
It's going to be the best episode.
Friday, Saturday,
9 o'clock, AAT Birds Network. But of course, Mondays we have Chips and Dish with Chip. So make sure to check him out. Tuesday, Fairways to Heaven with Jason and Phil. If you missed this past week's episode, make sure to go check it back on the YouTube channel, where they had the great Jonathan Coachman discussing golf, as well as some betting odds. Of course, he's former WWE announcer and talent, so a lot of people recognize him from that, but he does a tremendous job on the Golf Network, so make sure to give that a listen to see what he had to say on certain things on the Fairways to Heaven show. And of course, Wednesdays, we have the AAT Birds Weekly Report, the flagship show on the All About the Birds Network, 9:15 every single week. And of course, Fridays, some weeks we go live, some weeks we pre-record, so make sure to check all our episodes out here on the Birds, Beers, and BS show. What else did I miss? The website, aatbirds.com. With all these pro days, we have a lot of great content from all our writers, which Tommy has not helped out with. For a guy that's the draft expert, he's kind of been slacking in that department. But
the pro days are when I'm working.
Well, check out all our writers' information, as they have been doing a tremendous job covering the pro days. Dave and Adam and all our writers. Philly season's underway. We have our one of our writers, Jason. He is handling a lot of the Phillies talk, so make sure to check out that as well. And if you're interested in joining the program, hit me up on Twitter at Jeff Warner NFL, or hit all About the Birds Twitter at AAT Birds, or Facebook, wherever you follow us, and hit us up. We'll get you on our team. If you're looking in writing, podcasting, whatever it may be, we'll help you get you on the platform and where you would like to be. So again, from Peenut, you can follow him at
you can follow
Party Dog Dave 1 on Twitter.
Yeah, not me. I don't have a Twitter.
It's his Twitter
Party
account.
Doll Dave.
It's his parody Twitter account. So follow it, Party Doll 1 on Twitter. You can follow Tommy for all his draft day coverage at TB Barnett. T Barnett 91. I butchered that. My apologies. And then you can follow me on Twitter at Jeff Warner NFL. So, gentlemen, great show as always. We'll be back next week on Birds, Beers, and BS. Have a great week, everyone.